I'm totally joking. I bet you can hear me. Oh, how many people did I just fake out? Huh? I bet you were getting ready to type, can't hear you. This guy's an idiot. He doesn't have his mic turned on. Here I am, mic on, faking you out. So it'd be even funnier if I hit the wrong button and my mic was muted in this whole time. But you wouldn't hear any of that. So I would get away totally scot-free. What's up, everybody? Oh, man. Outrage. So before I get too far into this and I get yapping and all the stuff like I usually do, let's get an audio level check, because I realized something had happened last week where my audio got turned down on my guitar, and the vocals were good for once, but my guitar was turned down. So how is my vocals and vocals are too low? Okay. I think you're talking through your pickups. Vocals up a bit. Okay, I turned them up, so let's see how this goes. I've got a better grasp on things now. Vocals up a little. Vocals are a little too low. Should be good now. I know there's a little bit of a delay, like about 20 seconds between you guys and me, so they should be good to go now. And pretty loud. And then here's the guitar again, my vocals. Perfect. Awesome. There we go. Well, thank you guys. This is our 4th Monday. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row. So thank you all for coming here to hang out with me. Keep up the awesome work. Hey, thank you so much, Andy. I really do appreciate that very, very much. That's super kind of you for the super chat. You know, I appreciate the super chats, but nobody ever think that you have to do that. If you have a question for me or anything like that, do me a huge favor, though, and use the @ symbol and put my name in there, Robert Baker. That way it highlights it for me on this end, and it just makes it easier to see. Sometimes the chat gets moving and, well, you know, squirrel, you know, something like that. I can't pay attention. So guitar needs turned to 11. You know what? I like the way that you think. The guitar always needs to be turned to 11. So yeah, so to anyone who doesn't know, yesterday was Eddie Van Halen's birthday. He would have been 70. You know, it's crazy to think that it has been 5. I mean, he passed away in 2020. So it's crazy to think that it hasn't been 5 full years, but we'll just say 5 years that since he left us, you know. And to anyone who doesn't know, Eddie is my favorite guitarist of all time. He's the reason why I play guitar, and just a huge, huge inspiration. And I just thought, why not do a stream dedicated to Eddie? And I will say, a lot of you are asking if I'm going to make a John Sykes tribute video. So the plan for that is hopefully on Sunday, I will have a video dedicated to John Sykes. And if you haven't seen it yet, Leon Todd did an awesome, awesome Sykes tribute video. He's done 2 of them now. One was cool. It was like 5 John Sykes riffs that were not Whitesnake riffs. And he actually did one of the riffs that you're going to see in my video, which is Billy from Blue Murder. Which is probably my favorite John Sykes song. So that'll be coming out Sunday. And yeah, just thank you again, Andy. That's very, very kind of you. I'm a rock musician. I can only count to 4. Exactly. I'm right there with you, man. Hey, Robert, sounds like Kramer is definitely a B. Oh, yeah, you were telling me about earlier in the chat about your Kramer. And I saw Michael Torn was here. Also, to anybody who's interested in it. Oh, you know what? I got to pull it up over here. Look at me. The sale is still going on for a couple more days, I think is when it ends, on my membership. So if anybody wants that, they get you all of my guitar courses, and you get to do a monthly live Zoom call. We just had it yesterday, and each time I feel like they're getting better, and I'm understanding how to work stuff better and better. So I was really happy with the way that one went and turned out. We talked about some picking exercises that I was showing everybody that I learned, early on, these pedal tone ideas. So if you are interested in any of that stuff, it is in the chat somewhere and linked all over the place. So, all right, now that the work is out of the way. He's definitely my favorite. Frankie Bumble. Yes. Oh, and I'm sorry, one more thing. If anybody wants tabs, if you're watching this and you are a member, I tabbed out some of the ideas that I'm going to be showing you guys here today. That is in the members only video section. So you can get the replay of all this as well later on. But there are tabs there for anybody, Tim or Mark. I haven't seen any of the members yet in here, but if I missed you, they're in there. Greetings from Melbourne, Australia. Robert, first time I've caught one of these lives. Hey, welcome. Welcome. You picked a good one to go, to start with, because we're talking about Eddie Van Halen. So we'll get rolling on this stuff here real soon, but I would be curious, what is everybody's favorite Van Halen album? Before we get diving into all this stuff. Wait, what's the deal on the lessons? Satch, so basically you can buy any of my courses individually. We run sales and do all that stuff all the time. But I also have a thing that's called the Everything membership that is normally $15 a month. It is $9 a month, and you get access to all current and future courses that are mine. So we have like 25 or 26 courses right now. It's $9 a month, and we do a monthly 1-hour Zoom call. So like basically, instead of like this is like a live stream, but the other one is Zoom. So we're actually face to face doing a call, and they've been really fun. So that is the dealio on the membership. Ooh, Arthur coming in here with Balance. I like that. Not a lot of people talk about Balance, but man, Eddie's tone was massive on that album. A lot of Fair Warnings. Yes, Fair Warning is incredible. 5150. I mean, if you're going Van Hagar, you can't beat 5150. I mean, there was just a string of albums. 5150, OU812 is one of my favorites. Unlawful, of course. Who doesn't love Unlawful? All of the albums. That's a solid choice, Donald. That's the best choice. All of them. Far Beyond Driven. I like your style, William. Women and Children First. Ooh, kind of an underrated one, but I think that's some of Eddie's best tone is on Women and Children First. I believe Panama is on one of my favorite songs as far as his lead solos. Yeah, so my favorite album of all the Van Halen ones is 1984. Hot for Teacher is what made me want to play guitar. And of course, you got into like Drop Dead Legs and Top Jimmy. There's so many cool songs on 1984. House of Pain, Girl Gone Bad. I mean, that's probably one of my favorite Van Halen songs. But then next to that is probably Fair Warning, and then probably Van Halen 1, Women and Children, and Van Halen 2. Of the Diamond Dave era stuff. When it comes to Van Hagar, I probably go Unlawful 5150, OU 812, Balance, and some of the like the later ones I didn't listen to as much, if I'm being honest. Like I never got into Van Halen 3. Yeah, dropped it. I mean, such a cool riff. No one has ever listened to Van Halen 3. I listened to Van Halen 3. I did. It was just weird, you know. Maybe it's because we didn't get enough Gary Cherone stuff to like really get used to him. Like if you think about the catalog of music that we have from obviously Diamond Dave and then Van Hagar, we have a lot. Like I'm sure when people first heard 5150, they weren't pumped. And maybe they were. Maybe they loved it, you know, but I'm guessing the diehard VH fans were like, what is this? And, you know, and then there's just so much Van Hagar that you can pick and choose what you like and dislike. You know, 5150, the guitar wasn't that different than, you know, classic Diamond Dave stuff. As you went into like the later OU812s and all that stuff, Eddie's style and playing changed a lot. But, you know, we didn't have much, you know, Cherone era Van Halen to really go off of. Sammy and Eddie playing their only one way to rock. Oh, I love, and the way, I mean, Live Without a Net. Man, it's so good, but it's all there's only one way to rock. And then Eddie just comes in. It's such a good opener. Oh, Push Comes to Shove is a great one. You know, a solo that never really got enough attention, I feel, but was like really, really good is like When the Cradle Will Rock. That one, there's just so many cool like little articulation things that Eddie does in there. There was a lot of really cool Eddie solos that weren't necessarily like the real fire breathers that everyone references, but aging like fire. Is your Floyd floating or fixed? So it's, you know, on these VH ones, it's a top mounted, so it's fixed. I can only dive. You know, it's not recessed like a normal like Ibanez or, you know, a typical Super Strat where you can pull up on the bar. I can only dive. I originally saw Eddie open for Journey in Montrose in '78. Wow. And then later Sammy would be in Van Halen. We missed you on the live hand, Guitar Man. It was a good one. I saw the tour in Orlando. They did the same thing. I started learning more Eddie rhythms. Oh, dude. Eddie was wickedly solid on rhythm. There's no denying that. Michael Easter says, what no one talks about with EVH is that one, on top of everything else, he sang backup as well. Very few of the 1980s shredders sang. Yeah, that's totally true. You know, and for a while back in the early days of Van Halen, before they were Van Halen, when they were Mammoth, or maybe it was even when they were Genesis. To anyone who, it depends on how nerdy you want to get with Van Halen. Van Halen was originally called Genesis, and then they found out about the band Genesis, couldn't do it, and then they were called Mammoth, which is where Wolfgang Van Halen got his band's name from, before they were Van Halen. But well, I forget where I was going with any of that. There's your fun facts of Van Halen for the day. Oh, yeah, but he sang. So Eddie was originally the lead singer of Van Halen. So, oh, Cameron Gardner, thank you so much. He said, you're in Nashville, right? I have a Bray amp you need to do a Van Halen video on. It's got the early sound nailed. Wow, I've never heard of that. Bray. Thank you again for the super chat. Let me put that in my phone for later. Bray amp. Watch out, all my devices are going to ping. I will have to look that up. You're playing through the Jake amp? No, so unfortunately, it's not unfortunate. It sounds great, and I like it. I'm playing through my Axe Effects. I can't run my amps and my mic at the same time just because of the way my interface is. It's funny enough, I can do it on the Zoom calls, but I can't do it here without having like crazy volume discrepancies. So I'm still trying to figure out how I can have my amps and my mic at the same time. So until then, I have my Axe Effects going, which is what you're hearing. Which I think is out of tune. Like the one cable is right across the front of my screen. It was funny earlier. This guitar was just having so much trouble. Like I picked it up and was just playing it earlier, and it was just like slightly out of tune. And I'm like, well, you know, for the live stream, let me unlock the nut, get it real nice and in tune. And from that moment on, won't stay in tune. I'm like, really? So let me see something here real quick, because I think my thing is messing up. Oh, yeah, big time. I'm sorry, guys. My chat was froze. It got to the super chat, and it just stopped. Remember the good old days of just streaming with your phone? Man, I miss those days. Those were the best. The solo at the end of Fair Warning, 1 Foot Out the Door. Oh, there's so many good ones. So, since we got 228 people here, well, let's dive into this. So let me show you, we'll kind of sprinkle these Eddie licks around if you're cool with that. And the first thing I wanted to show you, that's one of my favorite Eddie licks and tricks, or, things that he did, was the way that he incorporated open strings. And he does this a lot, obviously in Eruption. That one lick is with, utilizing open strings. And one of my favorite licks of his, I can't remember which solo this is from. It might be Somebody Get Me a Doctor. I can't remember. But he does this lick. Which slow, it does not sound very pleasing, especially out of tune. I might have to switch to a different guitar. But you speed it up, and there's the Eddie sound. I could probably, if we really want to go full EVH, I could add a phaser on it. But that would just be ridiculous. So here we go. So here's how you do that, and it's really fun because it's incorporating a lot of open strings. And anytime you do this, I talk about this all the time. I was just talking about this in the live call yesterday, that the concept of what's happening is always the best thing you'll take away from learning something from any of these guys, like Eddie or anyone. So what we're doing here is we're going to play our open high E string. Now, I am tuned down a half step. So if you're not tuned down, I'm sorry. I wanted to keep it kind of like classic Eddie. So it is tuned down a half step. But what you're going to do is you're going to play your high E string open. And we're kind of working, you can visualize this as being B minor pentatonic. You're going to play your open high E string, go to the B string, and you're going to go 10, pull off to 7, pull off to open. Right there. So you have open on the high, and then okay, so already kind of a cool lick, especially when I have the delay going and stuff like that. And all you really do now is you can choose 2 different notes to play here. I like to use the flat 5, which is our blues note, and I'm going to go to 10 on the G. So you have or you could go to 9th fret on the G, which would just be your 4. So you can go or the 4. And once you speed that up, it really starts to sound like an Eddie lick. Now, what's the concept of that? Well, it's utilizing those open strings and moving around inside of a pentatonic scale. Or my mind starts thinking like, oh, that sounds really cool like that. What if we spread the lick out a little bit? So instead of, say, B minor pentatonic, what if we just did like a B major idea, or we did E, we'll do E major to make it easier on us. But, we go, oh, that was actually kind of cool. What did I do there? So let's do that again. It sounds wild. I'm just taking the pattern that I was doing and moving it somewhere else. Another kind of stolen Eddie lick. I can't remember what solo that's from either. He does the volume swell on that. I can hear it. Now fade away. Oh, I can't stop loving you. I can't stop. Out of tune guitar, gonna make me mad. It would be great at that job. The fretboards are always... What does it say? I just read Alex's book, Brothers. The book ends before the Sammy era. Disappointing in that sense. The stories about the early days are interesting, though. Oh, yeah, I need to read that. I have not read that yet, but I should definitely get a copy of that and read it. Rockstar, what's up, buddy? Man, you're just... you're just early for the next one, right? Never late. Oh, Tony Baker. Dude, how are you, man? I have not heard from you in forever, dude. How are you doing, buddy? Sorry, I'm looking at the screen and not the camera. But, dude, thank you so much for the super chat, dude. First time seeing you live. Music Matt, well, welcome. See, look, we got Mark in the house. We got Guitar Man. We got Tony. I'm sorry, if I've missed any questions at all, remember, just use the @RobertBaker. That way it highlights it for me. Makes it a little bit easier for me to see it. Rockstar or Guitar Man, if you guys want taps or any of this stuff, it's in the members only members only videos on the website. So if you are interested in any of those, just go log into Teachable and you have them. So that's that lick there. And like I said, Eddie does this a lot. And so the concept of moving that idea somewhere else is cool, but also the idea of using open strings, because it's like, how and why does that open high E string work? It's like we're out of the key of B. Well, if you look at your pentatonics, you've got an E note in there. So when I learned licks like this, what it opened up for me was like, oh, as long as whatever open string is a note that's in the scale, I can use the open string, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's really fascinating. I can take this idea of playing in some other key, and I got it from like Billy Gibbons as well, of that kind of thing. Let me move this out of the way a little bit here. Didn't realize you guys probably couldn't see my hand at all. There we go. Again, I'm just using open strings that are inside of the key. We love you here in Florida, Robert. Your teaching is amazing. Hey, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. A lot of Florida peeps here. Florida's out here representing. Story unbelievable. I live in Virginia. There's a homeless guy who hangs out on all the time near the local Walmart. I got to know him, found out he worked for Eddie, electronic technician, 1980. Wow. Oh, yeah, that is crazy. Hello from Hendersonville. Hello from Nashville. His name is in the credits of the first album. Oh, wow. It's even more fascinating. Tasty Licks. I'm in Michigan. Like, we got a couple of Michigan people here. I don't know if the Guitar Man's still here. How do you achieve that amazing tone? So this is actually a patch that I made on my Axe effects. Normally, if I was trying to get Eddie's tone, I would play my plexi, super lead, whatever you want to call it, back there. And it does a really good job of getting that Eddie. There's like a certain snap to his tone. But this is just a patch that I made whenever I got the Axe effects, I think 10 years ago now. So I only ever made 2 patches on this thing. One is the distorted tone, one is a clean tone, and that was it. And I'm like, all right, that's enough for me. Les Bellin says, Robert, you rock the VH, dude. First timer here from Toronto. Hey, got Canada in the house. Well, thank you very much, man. The solo from Romeo's Delight is killer. Oh, man. Again, there's so many cool... And Eddie's solos are ridiculously hard to play. Robert, I actually played... Arthur said, Robert, I actually played one of Eddie's very first custom-built guitars. It has a carbon pickup in it. Wow, this is pre-Floyd. That's really interesting. Man, I would love to play any of that. that Eddie stuff. Can you share the patch? Honestly, Atomic, I get asked that all the time. I don't even know how to share the patches, and I've never updated the I haven't updated the firmware in like 5 or 6 years, whatever it's been. So I think even if I shared it, I'm assuming it wouldn't be exactly the same because it's different. Different firmware, all that stuff. I don't even know what one this is on now. But unfortunately, I can't share it because I'm just not smart enough to know how to. But I would have no problem doing it because I'm not trying to like, you can't have my secret tone or something. I can tell you exactly what it is. I know it's a Friedman amp. It's a Friedman BE. And I've got an 808 in the front, boosting it just a little bit, and then I just have a stereo tape delay and then a medium room reverb, and that's it, man. Bone simple, really. The Axe-Specs just sounds great. Oh, what did that say? Oh. Here, hold on one second, guys. I see what's happening here. See, I thought I was big brain. I'm not. Never was. Never have been. And I think I just need to accept that. I need to let that sink in a little bit here. I'm using an Axe Effect, so it's an actual piece of hardware. It's not a software thing. It's all digital, but it's an actual rack unit that you use. But anyways, I'm just really dumb, and I had done something dumb. Now, this will work much, much better. FB is good on Helix too. Awesome. Made myself a killer BE patch in the pod. Yeah, the Friedman stuff always sounds good. Robert, you picked up an older 5150 amp. I did, Rockstar. So I made a video, I think it's 2 videos ago on the channel, trying out, Eddie's actual settings. But it's not local. I'm not in that town. But a couple towns over, a little north of Nashville, in a place called Madison, there's a small guitar center, and I went in. Every time I'm on that side of town, I just try to like stop in there real quick because you never know what you're gonna find. And sure enough, I walked in there, and they had an old 5150 script, and I'm like, what? It was still expensive, but it was cheap for what 5150s, the old ones, normally go for. I'm like, why is this marked down so much? And I think the Toll X was just kind of beat up on it. It was just aesthetic issues. And I played it, and I'm like, I'm not really looking for an amp, and I'm not looking for a 5150, but I think there might be a video here. So I bought it, and then I made that EVH video. So it totally worked. What's the most underrated solo of all the classic songs that never got famous but still rock? One of mine is the solo from Dancing in the Streets. That's a really cool solo. I think his solo to Girls Gone Bad, that 1984 album when he was like real Holdsworthy in some of his stuff. I think that solo in the House of Pain stuff is killer. Was it? Then Dave was like, it's just cool. Thank you, Rob from California. Well, thank you. So why don't we move on to the next lick that I want to show you guys? It's a night rocking out and celebrating Eddie Van Halen. So feel free, drop any Eddie Van Halen stories you have. If you have a question for me, please use @RobertBaker. And if I miss it, feel free to repost. Like, don't feel weird about reposting something. I'm blind, and I will miss things. Monty said, Robert, how did you go about learning to play Ed's licks and play his style? Just from listening? I think a lot of it was from listening. From the very beginning, like I said, Eddie made me want to play, and I was just kind of surrounded by. I knew I couldn't play it, but I tried to pick out little things, even early on, that I thought Eddie was doing. Like when he does things like the... And this is where guys like Eddie are so fascinating for us to try to learn, because it's the devil's in the details with any of these guys. When Eddie did that, I'm like, oh, he's making his notes sound so short. Why do my notes sound so long? And I realized it's the way he's, for one, muting with his right hand, but picking his finger up slightly to make those notes. Let me turn this delay off. The delay is killing me. I love it, but no. No delay. Not to be confused with on delay. But I realized, like, oh, he's choking the strings with his left hand. That's how you get that. And it's real aggressively picked. I'm not picking it like, I'm not going. It's just little things like that. Like you try to figure out how to replicate the sound. So, I started with trying to pick up the little details inside of Eddie's playing, and then moved on to just trying to pick up a lick here and there. And it wasn't ever about playing it perfectly like Eddie. Even though I find that stuff fascinating. I see a lot of comments from people saying, like, why would you ever want to own a signature guitar, play just like someone else? I think musically, it's a really tough challenge for one musician to try to sound and play like another musician. Doesn't mean you have to do it all the time, but you can learn a lot from doing that. And I always thought that was fascinating. So it was more about taking ideas and licks that I would hear him do, like in the Panama solo. He might use his whammy bar there, but I always did it with my fingers. Like those licks that he does. Whatever the lick was, I don't remember now. But I just and you pick up little things. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Those little. I don't remember the chord anymore. It's such a cool. Was it? I don't remember it. But it was just stuff like that. Little ideas, nothing big. Kowski says, Robert, how do you incorporate Eddie's style into your playing without it sounding like something just copying his lick? So obviously, I see it a lot when someone just does an Eddie lick unorganically. So it's kind of what I was talking about with the first lick that I showed you guys. So like this is an Eddie lick. And that's why if you hone in on the concept of the lick with the open strings, I'm like, oh, you could turn that into a lick. To me, that doesn't sound as similar to Eddie's. All of a sudden it's like, oh, we're kind of twisting it a little bit. I mean, that is literally the same lick, but I changed it and went to major and started incorporating different notes out of my major scale. Eddie's lick, my lick. And I think that's how you can make any lick sound like your own or make it sound just different enough to where you're like, you know, like a super diehard Eddie fan might hear that lick and be like, that's an Eddie Van Halen lick. It's the same way I listen to Dimebag Darrell. Like, I hear so much Eddie Van Halen in his playing, and that's what made me like him so much. Like, he always sounded like Dime, but there was no doubt, especially on the Cowboys from Hell album, that he was extremely heavily influenced by Eddie when it came to his solos, you know? And I heard that just because I'd been studying Eddie my whole life. And, you know, but Dime sure did a good job of taking it and making it his own. And it was because it was the same, he took the same idea that Eddie was doing, and then he just, you know, twisted and turned it a little bit. So I think that's why the concept is king of any of these. So I love how Eddie rolls back his volume at times. Oh wait, Eddie is one of the. So it's funny. I have a pedal board for the first time in. I've been playing guitar 19 years. 19 years. Last year was the first year I've ever had a pedal board. And the reason, even when I played live for many, many years with multiple bands and different styles and all that stuff. Even then, I had no pedal board. I had a hush pedal and a delay pedal plugged into the loop of my amp, and that was it. I did everything with my volume knob, and that was just because I learned it from doing Eddie songs. I remember when I first realized he was doing that was I went into guitar lessons, and an amazing teacher, sorry, man, was out of focus, a lot of that. Sorry, you guys got to tell me that. Tell me like, dude, why are you out of focus? My teacher, Tim McMillan, who is a phenomenal guitarist, we were working on Panama. See if I remember how to play any of this stuff. But Joe, that stuff, and the next part goes. And I remember he told me, he's like, just turn your volume down on your guitar. And I'm like, what? He's like, not all the way down. Turn it down. And I'm like, oh, it's a whole different sound. You know, and then when he gets to the next part. How does it do that? That whole thing, I was like, oh, he's turning his volume down. And then I remember learning Somebody Give Me a Doctor, which I still think this is like who does this? It's like one of the sickest riffs. You know, that whole thing. Then the one part he goes. Like a volume swell. I was like, that's so cool. I can't remember all the licks anymore, but I just realized how much he was using his volume knob, and again. That's a concept to take away from these guys. So just because you use your volume knob, you know, doesn't mean you're going to sound just like Eddie, but it's a cool technique to take away from what he was doing. So let me show you something cool, a cool Eddie lick. And this one, I think I've showed it before at some point, maybe. I can't totally remember. But in the Feel Your Love Tonight solo, it's one of my favorite Eddie licks, and it's a very short lick that he plays, but when you look at it, I always thought I'm just like, God, it's so Eddie, because it's such a cool way to do it. So you've got all the stuff going on. And a solo kicks in. But he does this lick up here. That right there. And then it just kind of sounds like noise almost. Like you're like, what is he even doing there? But what's happening, and I tabbed it out. I'm going to show you down here in a different key. Is right here. I'm keeping the licks all in the same relative key. We're going to go like this. I think that's what I did. Let me make sure. Maybe I didn't keep them in the same key. I got the tabs here. Let me just check. Let me do my homework real quick like. Nope, that's wrong. There it is. There's the tabs. Oh, you know what? I lied. I didn't. I put them in whatever key I wanted to, apparently. So this one is kind of more out of A minor. So you're going to bend 13 on the B. And then you're going to go 10 and slide up to 11. And then you do a two-step bend. So you do it 3 times in a row. Two-step bend. Which to me is kind of like a Clapton-y thing right there. And that's just 10, 13, 10. So you can kind of visualize that as being box 3 of your A minor pentatonic. But what's happening here that is fascinating is Eddie's bending this 13 up a full step. So just up to the next note in the key. And he's going to his flat 5, but sliding to it right there. So it's just like a blues pentatonic. And that was what made Eddie cool. He would take the simplest thing, and you're like, why did I never think about that? Like, I love all these guys who will use the flat 5 in different ways that's not just standard out of a box, you know? Right there. It always sounds cool. Another guy who uses the flat 5 and the blues scale in a really cool way is a guitarist named Sean Tubbs. I stole this from him. He uses it down here a lot more than just in your standard pentatonic. He does that too, but he'll do like a lick, you know, and he slides down and grabs that flat 5, and I'm like, that's so cool. You know? So, anyways, there's your Eddie lick number 2. His crazy flat 5 blues. Getting hot in here too. Oh yeah, so we'll talk about that here in just a second. Hearing Unchained as a 9-10-year-old changed my life. I mean, what a cool riff. Not tune drop D. Ian Chapman, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank God I was a Van Halen team. Yeah, so you got to have like experience it all new and like fresh. Well, to me, Eddie's stuff always sounds fresh, but the black and blue solo. I always love the next riff. Whatever that thing is that he does, I can't remember, but a lot of cool stuff in there. But someone, who was it? Monty said, I have the original Rockman and it looks like new. Used it a great deal playing songs with the headphones. The MXR I would have liked if they kept the delay. That's the only thing I was bummed out about. And I have a hunch why they did it the way they did. But to anyone who doesn't know, MXR just came out with a Rockman X100 pedal. And I bought one, and it should be here on Wednesday. I'm so pumped up to get it. They did an amazing job from what I've heard and talked to friends about it who have them already, who got them to demo. And I was just bummed they didn't put a delay in it. And I'm guessing that's because then they're going to probably come out with a deluxe model that has delay built in it. So then they'll get even more of my money. And, I will just accept it because I want everything Rockman. But I got really lucky. And some of you I saw got it because I made a post about the Rockman going on sale. Because what happened was it was one night, and as usual, I can't sleep. I'm always up to like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And Leon Todd's video went live on the pedal. And then a little bit later, Pete Thorne's video went live. And I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't know these things were coming out today. And after I was watching, Leon's video, and I got thinking, I'm like, wait, are these like available to purchase? And I hopped on Sweetwater real quick, and I looked, and it said in stock, but I didn't say it anywhere else. I looked at a couple other websites. I'm like, whoa, that's weird. And I was like, I might get one in the morning. And I sat there, I was like, no, these will be gone by morning. And I just happened to buy one, and it was like within the hour, it went from saying in stock to hot new item arriving soon. And there was like a tiny little batch of them that they got that sold out. And I saw some of you guys, I posted the link real quick. I was like, hey, anybody who wants one of these things, they're going to be gone. And they were gone like super quick. Punk Rocket, what up? Don said, how about Cathedral? I learned Cathedral one time. And it ruined the volume knob on my guitar, so I never practiced it again. I stayed up all night one time going through it and learning it, and then it completely ruined the volume knob on my guitar. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not playing that ever again. So when I get one, I'll be playing Boston tunes forever. Man, I hate to do it, Eddie. But I can't get my guitar to stay in tune. It just won't do it. Bigger 2-month waiting list. What a bummer. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was why, I tried to spread the word, real quick. This all happened within, 10 minutes. Like I said, I was watching Leon's video, and then I saw Pete Thorne's was going live in, an hour or something, and that's when I bought mine. And then I posted about it, and I saw it looked like, I think 9 of you guys used the link and got it, and then they were gone. It says ships in February. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if it was just a fluke that they had them or something happened, but then my sales rep called me the next day, and he's like, "Hey man, I saw you ordered this, and you got in on that limited first batch." So I felt super, super lucky to have that thing, because I'm pretty pumped up to get it. And Rockstar, I know we were just talking about them yesterday. Also, speaking of that, shameless plug, because I'm shameless. Anybody who wants any of the guitar lessons, they're all on sale if you get the membership. So, the membership gets you all, I'll put a link in the chat just now. It literally gets you all the courses I make, current and future, as long as you're subscribed to it. It is a monthly thing. But I mean, $9 a month, and you've got access to, I think it's 28 courses at this point. So a ton of stuff, and then a monthly live Zoom call that Guitar Man and Rockstar and Tim and all that stuff we were just on yesterday, working on that pedal tone idea. So anybody interested in that is in there. I think that's going to end on Wednesday. I have that, Steve. I think it's Wednesday, though. You have the original Rockman soloist. That's awesome. There's a shop here that just opened not too long ago called Tone Central Station. I can't think of the road that it's on. And that, like, literally just opened like at the end of last year. Super, super cool store. They have a Rockman in there with the original box and the headphones. I can't remember now that I'm thinking about it. I thought it was an X100, but I'm not totally sure. But they want a little bit too much for it. You're signing up. Hey, Atomic, thank you so much. Anybody who signs up, please throw a comment in the comment thing, and because I love to tell you thank you in person. You know, I hope anybody, current, future, people always know how much I appreciate you guys taking the time to even just to check out the courses, memberships, any of that stuff. So, 5150, what'd you miss? You missed me not knowing how to play 5150. That's cool. There's two different people with 5150 in their name, right next to each other. How many amps do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 amps. Dude, you've taught us so much. We appreciate you. Oh, I appreciate you guys, Juan. But yeah, I have 7 amps, and if you count the Axe FX, I guess that would be 8. So that might seem like a lot, because it is a lot. But I do think they all sound very different. Just rewatched your Slash and EVH hack videos. Oh, cool. You know, I'm working on an EVH course that will be out at some point, and I think that one's going to be really, really fun. Tony! One of my 80s metal brothers. Happy New Year, Baker. Happy New Year, Tony. Keep up the great videos and content. Dude, thank you so much. Uh-oh. We have a mom sighting. Sheila Stumbo. Mom alert. How much are private lessons? Oh, I don't offer private lessons anymore. Of course, if you want to learn how to play guitar, I think you have the mom card, you know. Oh, what does that say? Best EVH. Pickups for the EVH thing, the Super Distortion still king. Yeah, the Super Distortion is really good. It depends on which, you know, Eddie thing you're going for. I don't even know what pickups in this thing. Whatever's in the Frankie sounds great. and I play that card. I did find that I have to send you an old video of Christmas of 2023, Mason opening presents and stuff. So remind me to send that to you. Have you ever tuned your guitar to the Van Halen songs? It's so fun. Like tuning up the B string a little bit to get it more in tune. Yeah, and it makes a huge difference. You know, it just kind of shows you how good Eddie's ear was to hear that stuff. Joe said, late to the party. Did you cover your tone setup? So I'm using my Axe effects right now. To anyone who is wondering that as well. For the live streams, for now, I can't use my amps. I have to use my Axe effects, just the way that things are set up. And this is a patch that I made about 10 years ago. And, you know, I think Eddie's influence is certainly in the tone that I usually go for. And this one is based off of a Friedman BE. It's got an 808 in it, and then a stereo tape delay, and then a medium room reverb. So I should probably go plate if I really want to get the EVH thing, but I don't know. At the time, I set it on room. Sean Plays Guitar says, I finally learned a Coheed and Cambry song this week. Bro, big week for me. I have never even tried. Dude, congratulations. That anytime you learn songs that like you think you would never be able to play from an artist, that is like one of the most motivating things possible on guitar. Don Young says, my Frankie came with the Wolfgang pickups. Yeah, so maybe that's what's in this one. It's unbranded, but like I said, it sounds good. It's too hard to do that. Do the Eddie pose. Do you still use the SGX 2000? I mean, I don't use it very often. I was going to use it for the Guitar Myth video, and then the slider's not working on it. So it was kind of on its last leg when I got it, but it's such a cool thing. So maybe I can get it working. Maybe I just need some, canned air or something, or WD-40. The courses are like having a private lesson with 24/7 access. There you go. Rockstar knows what's up. So let's do a little Eddie Van Halen trick that he did, or like a guitar stunt, whatever you want to call it. And he did it pretty often, and there's different ways to do it, and he did it different ways at different times. And it's how he would do his harmonic slide. And it's funny, I'll do this sometimes, obviously because I stole it from Eddie, and people will ask, like, what did you just do? And all you have to do is do some kind of trill on the guitar. Some people will just hammer on a single note. I like to pull off the strings. So the way I tabbed it out is it's just 4th fret on the G, pulling off to 2, pulling off to open. And you do that continuously. Now, you're going to take, and I've seen people do this different as well. I've seen Mark Tremonti do this, where he puts his pinky on the string and kind of slides it up. And you get these harmonics. You want to barely have your pinky or palm touch the strings. So a good way to practice this is to start fully muted and slowly pick your right hand up off the guitar to where you hear the notes, but they start to just do harmonics. I'm like, Zach Wilde does that a bunch too. It's just a cool sound, I think one of the most fun things about guitar is, and just being a musician, is we get to just make weird noises. It's kind of like the Red Beach, like pushing down on the pickup. And he would hit the whammy bar down. You go. I mean, it's just anytime you can make a cool noise, I'm like, I'm all in. I'm for it. But Eddie would do that with the trill. So he would do it on the lower strings too. And I always just thought that was a cool sound. So, yeah. John Sykes did a lot too. Yeah. I mean, and all these guys got it from Eddie. It's always cool. I tell you who's really good at doing that exact lick is my buddy Steve from Boston. He gets his so articulate and clear. And I've always been amazed at how well he could do that. So Steve does it, and he'll do something. He sounds so good when he does it. Your buddy from Boston. Yo, he's wicked good at the EVH thing. Wicked good. What is your favorite live Eddie video? The obviously Live Without a Net is incredible. I wish we would have gotten a proper production DVD of the David Lee Roth era, but we didn't. But as far as like sound, I was just watching it again, and I was talking with my buddy Steve, who helps me do all this stuff. And the live right here, right now, sounds incredible. It sounds so good. Steve from Boston Steve from Boston is such a great guitar player. His picking hand is so articulate. I've always been envious of it. Don says, Robert, I have an 85 Kramer Striker with a Jackson Floyd Rose and an original non-tuning tremolo Floyd Rose. Amazing guitar. That does sound like an amazing guitar. One trick I doubt EVH used was pushing buttons on a remote while pointing the remote at the pickups. I mean, and then, like all the stuff he did in Intruder. See him? So, I always thought that stuff was cool. But what time is it? Okay, 7:09. I think that we need to switch guitars. So, what's funny? We could have actually done a lot of this stuff with the Explorer. I mean, that's what a lot of the first Van Halen stuff before it was the Shark guitar was his Destroyer. So, the Explorer would have been a good pick. Hold on, let me mute this because I don't want to like blast anybody's eardrums out. Where is it at? There we go. Oh, look at that. I'm telling you. The guys in the call yesterday, computer genius. I can't even hide it anymore. On to the next iteration of Eddie. Oh, shoot. I'm not plugged in. Let me mute that one more time. I'm like, why don't I have volume? Yeah, I'm glad you guys didn't hear that. That would have been a rough one. It was loud. Robert, what is the better EVH brand or Music Man? I mean, I think some of the Music Man stuff is like just some of the best guitars being made. And I've played some really good Music Man stuff. I'm sorry, really good EVH stuff. But I would say that Music Man definitely has the leg up on them. Hate that he ruined that guitar tone. I know. Imagine if he wouldn't have. Who knows what else he would have used it on. What happened to that guitar that looks like... Oh, what happened here? Oh, hold on. Oh, there it is. My whole iPad froze. That looks like a Les Paul with a long horn. Oh, I have that. You might be thinking about the Cronus. That one, it needs a new bridge on it, is really what happened. The string started slipping out of the saddle. So at some point I'm going to do like a whole, like, can we save this guitar video? But there's also the Novo. That's kind of Les Paul looking. So this one's tuned to standard, which is what kind of Eddie went to. And, you know, in Van Hagar. And now we turn the delay back on. That's what I've been waiting on. He changes it. Where does he go? It's the same. Nope. And then... So cool. I mean, what an absolute just killer riff. I mean, think about that. I mean, that's... He's like, all right. You're like, that's a riff. And he's like, hold on. Dog hair on me. It's so cool. Green 5150 status. Brian, so yeah, anyone who's asking about the 5150 Green Super Strat giveaway, the way that we do all the giveaways is that I don't announce anything until we have had like an email exchange with the, you know, whoever won. So until we have that, unless Steve helps me do this stuff, unless Steve has and he hasn't sent me the name yet, I probably need to ask him about that. But until we hear back, we don't announce anything, and we just make sure that it's, you know, legit and all that kind of stuff, and then we announce the winner, and then we post about it and do all that stuff. I pinned a comment on top of that video basically saying everything I just said a week or so ago, just so everyone knows. Because sometimes it takes a while. We try to give them a full month to respond, because we have had people in the past not respond. And, then we move on to a new person. Do you think Eddie learned how to master feedback on his old 335? Heard he played one in the beginning. Yeah, so his, the pickup that was in his Super Strat that he took and put in that boogie body, it was kind of like a Charvel, was from his 335, that PAF. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you guys too. Hey, Robert, did you get a chance to check out some Wild Side tunes? Love the videos. I have not yet, man, but I do have a list of bands for me to check out that people have recommended in the comments. I know you recommended that last week. That I'm going to try to start chipping away at it. Because in some of the 80s videos, I asked people for recommendations, and they gave me so many bands. I'm like, oh my God, I've got so much 80s music to check out. I love the brotherhood it's from my mom. She said, I love the brotherhood that you guitar players have. It's really awesome. I think that we on here have a particularly good community, because I've seen some other people's channels, even in the guitar community, who unfortunately have a lot of like nasty people. I'm always like, man, what's the point of being that way? But it's always just remained so positive over here. And, you guys are to thank for that. So thanks for keeping it such a great positive energy and vibe. Hey, dude, finally caught you live. Cheers from Norway. Jen! All the way from Norway. Well, thank you very, very much. Cheech said, Rob, what's happening? No NAMM for you this year. No, I actually haven't been back to NAMM since 2020. So from what I've seen, it looks like it was a pretty good one. And, I went to NAMM, I think it was 8 or 9 years in a row before that. And every year when I come home from NAMM, I'd get sick every single year. We call it NAMthrax. And I just kind of got tired of it, if I'm being honest. I love going out there. I love seeing everybody. I get to meet a lot of you guys out there and see so many friends that I don't get to see. But man, it's like, it's a week off to go out there. Literally never came home from NAMM and did not get deathly ill the next week. And then I'm just like sick for like a week or two. And it's like, it wipes out 2 to 3 weeks. And I'm like, I can't not work for 2 to 3 weeks. So maybe next year will be my return to NAMM. But this year, NAMM happened, and we literally just got done being sick. Like, had horrible, horrible flu. We even took like a test to see like what it was, like influenza A that we had, which is apparently the bad one that you don't want to get. So we had like legit flu, and it messed all of us up right at Christmas time too. My mom can agree, because they were here and they got sick. So yeah, I will hopefully be back at NAMM next year, because it looks like it was kind of returning to old NAMM. But I love being out there and I love being around everybody. Don't love NAMthrax. You look too young to have been in NAMM. Different, add an extra M, and that's the NAMM that I've been to. Who knows what NAMM stands for? I remember they asked me this. I think they were like trying to like catch people off guard. Years ago, they're like, yeah, excuse me, sir, do you know what NAMM even stands for? I'm like, National Association of Musical Merchants? And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that is. I'm like, got it. I looked it up yesterday. She said, how awesome that your mom is here. My mom's just awesome in general, I gotta say. Man, this guitar sounds awesome. I talk too long and then my hands get cooled down. Get sick because there's so much gear you like or want. Guitar overload. Yeah, I get sick like that too. I had to go to the ER. Namrats and Namthrax. Rob, you ever used the Ultimate Guitar for tunes? I use a website called Songster most of the time. And it's with 2 R's. So song and then stir, it's ERR. I expect it sounds so fat. It does, yeah, it sounds awesome. Maybe not the best tone to have like in a mix because it's so big, but how's it go? I don't remember it all. No. What's that Ruddy does? No. Something like that. You know, it's such a cool solo. That's what it was, yeah. There we go. That's it. Kind of. Half remembered. Do I have a fretboard radius preference? Not at all, Pedro. Honestly, it's funny. It's one of those things where I hear people talk about it, and like with my Strat, you know, that it's an old vintage radius, and I remember one guy's like, I'd never own one of those. I can't play it with that radius. I'm like, I don't even think about radius at all, unless it is like The only time I ever really notice it is if it's crazy flat. Like Ibanez, it takes me a little bit to adjust to, because most of the time I'm playing Fenders and, you know, like a Strat, Tele, Les Paul, and like to me a Les Paul is plenty flat. It's like 12 or something like that. But you know, you get to an Ibanez and it's like 17 or something like that. And those I notice, but not to a point where I'm like, I can't play this thing. I've never cared what the radius was. It was just kind of more like, I don't know, how does the guitar feel and play in my hand? Because I love an Ibanez, and I love, you know, 7 1/4 radius. I love 12. I love 9, and 15, 17. It doesn't matter what the radius is for me. Vintage radius, I notice when bending. Yeah, then you can, but I mean, typically I'm not doing anything that is like more than like maybe a 2-step bend, and I can still do all that stuff on my Strat. So I don't think it ever hinders me. That's some FUCK action. Great album. I don't know any songs off of that album. When you said Dream, isn't Dream is Over? Isn't that on Unlawful? I think that's on Unlawful, isn't it? Dream another dream. This dream is over. Where's it at? Let's see. Van Halen. I want to say that's on Unlawful. Yeah, The Dream is Over. That's on Unlawful. No 4.5-step bends, cringe rock. I couldn't do those with the flattest of radiuses. My little weak hands can't handle it. Donald says, I have a Warren D. Martini Charvel Snake. Ooh, I love those. I think we gave one away last year, or maybe the year before, one of the Pro Mod ones. Your Jimmy. So the Jimmy Strat is 10 to 12? That's wild. Is that what Jimmy had? Did he like have his guitars re-radiused? Or did they start doing that in like the 70s? Or like, early CBS? Ugh. Only thing I can think of off the top of my head that I know from Balance is how does that go? I can't think of any other riffs off the top of my head. How's it go? That was one of my favorite Eddie riffs. Maybe not favorite riffs, but favorite songs. Like, I just love Sammy singing on that one. Man on a Mission. What song? So that song is called Man on a Mission. Because I'm a man on a mission. Straight ahead, let's talk more action and satisfaction. So cool. Van Halen 3 rules, said no one ever. I'm sure there is killer. I mean, I remember there was an acoustic song on there. I think it's instrumental. That was really cool. How about the groove rhythm from Me Wise Magic? Ooh, I don't know it, but I always thought the track or the rhythm in and Out was really cool. That little I don't know what it is, but it's like simple, but it's like this real groovy rhythm that Eddie does. This question probably came up already. My apologies, but what amp are you using? Sounds great. Well, thank you, Christopher. I am actually using my Axe Effects right now, and this is a patch that I made many years ago. It's based off of a Friedman BE with an 808 in front of it with the gain very barely cracked on it, and then a stereo tape delay, and then a medium room reverb. And if you don't know what an Axe Effects is, it is essentially a digital preamp. So I say stereo tape delay in air quotes because it's all digital. But yeah, I think this sounds pretty similar to Eddie's tone. I mean, like big. If we roll down. Some chorus on that, and I think we might be in business. Oh, hold up, redo, erase that from your memory, please. How's it go? I mean, one of the coolest songs ever. I need the harmonizer. I think I want to get one of the Eventide micro pitch pedals to really get the EVH thing. I have the chorus pedal, but to get the EVH thing, you really need the micro pitch. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Dr. Wow, he gave me a rough one. Mabazik? I'm so sorry. I am very, very sorry. How much EVH is off limits if I avoid trim guitars? Not really that much, if I'm being honest. Solos is a little different, especially early EVH. But if you like Van Hagar, not much. I mean, like, there's a song off 5150 called Not Enough where he's using the whammy bar as part of the main riff. But he didn't use his whammy bar a lot in his riff writing. It was much more in his solos. So as long as you're fine with not being able to do, like stuff like that, then, pretty much nothing's off limits. And I would say all of my favorite Eddie stuff, he's not using a whammy bar and he's not tapping. I love all of his play. I mean, I love the tapping and the whammy bar stuff too. But my personal favorite Eddie stuff is when he wasn't doing those things. And you hear how good his vibrato is with his fingers, how well he could just bend and keep things in tune. I mean, incredible pitch with his ear. And, cool, like, just fiery blues rock licks. Yeah, the micro pitch is great. Boss makes a good one, but it's more expensive. Ooh, it's more expensive than the Eventide one? Because the Eventide stuff is pretty expensive. So, we'll probably start winding down here in a minute. Any questions that you guys have, other EVH stuff? I do want to point out I'm wearing my wife's most hated shirt that I own. Every time I put this on, she just she's like, ugh, I'm going to throw that shirt away. Because it is literally, like how the bottom of your shirt has like that different layer. It's like thicker material, almost like a, like binding or something. I don't know what it's called. The hem. Well, this shirt has been worn so much that just finally tore off. So it's like this, there's no bottom to this shirt. And then if you look, there's holes all throughout it. There's holes in the side of it. And I wore it today. I went to the store and she's like, you're not wearing that out, are you? I'm like, absolutely. Like, listen, 90% of the time I look like a hobo. And I'm fine with that. And it's more her who has to pay the price for that. But I've always looked like a hobo before we were married, and I'm looking like one after. So, is that a Corvette? Yeah, look at that. My favorite. That's my dream car, a Corvette. I have some Camaro shirts too, but Vet is always the one. The shredder wears shredded clothes. That's right. But these are like, I earned, through it being a poor quality shirt and me just wearing it a bunch. It's called a Boss PS6 Harmonist. Okay, I'll look that up, Dolby. Thank you. Started as a pretty boy and then turned hobo. See, I just kind of like stayed the same. Whole life, hobo. When I was a kid, hobo. Teenager, hobo. 20s, hobo. 30s, somehow getting worse. Looking, I think hobos typically look better than what I do. So. That's funny, Timothy. Your comment got hid. He said, "Are you really living if your hair is shorter than your wife?" Mine is too long right now. I'm getting ready to get it cut. Not like short, but like probably like up to here again or something. Anadol said, not VH related, but what do we think about Warrant? Specifically, their grungy Alice in Chains era. Personally, I think it rocks. Janie Lane was on fire. Wish they kept that heavy sound. I've never even heard that version of Warrant. That's crazy. I'll have to look that up too. You guys giving me all kinds of stuff to look up. Dude, Satch72, sign up for the membership. Dude, thank you so much. for signing up for that. There is so much stuff in there for you. And then we have our group Zoom call on the last Sunday of every month. You'll get an email about it and all that stuff as well. But just know the last Sunday this month, well, it'll be in February because we already did the January one. But so on the 23rd of February, you can put it in your calendar now if you want, but if you're in the membership, then you get an invite sent to you to join in with the Zoom call that we have at the end of each month. Great show, Robert. Thanks. Awesome. Yeah, I'll be here next Monday. To anyone, if you're curious what I'm talking about right now, we are, hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay. Curious what I was just talking about. I know I got to stay by the microphone. I can't focus. But we have a sale on the membership, which gets you into all the courses that I have. Again, it's like 20 plus courses. We do a monthly live Zoom call with all the members, and you get member exclusive. There's a bunch of exclusive videos in there. There's also like replay, like the live streams on here I take down, so they're not public anymore, but I will post them there, and then you guys get tabs and backing tracks. Whatever I use in these live lessons, you get all that material. So other than that, guys, I got to say, I have set up an outro for the live streams. I know. I'm telling you, if I can figure out how to do one more thing on here where it just kind of classes up these live streams, you won't know what to do with me. You won't be able to handle me because my head's just getting too big. I am just watching so many videos on how to operate OBS that it is crazy. So, on that note, let me do this. And I appreciate all of you. To all the new members, I've seen a couple of you say that you signed up. If anybody did sign up, please throw it in the chat right now so I can thank you before we get off here. As always, Rockstar, Guitar Man, Tim, Chris, a.k.a. The Other Mark, Mike, you guys have been there, since the beginning of the membership. What are those headphones? They are Bear Dynamic DT 990 Pro. They are awesome. If you're like me and you've got big old ears, see, I got pretty big ears. Headphones always hurt my ears. And these have this really nice cushion on them. And they're big, like big cans on them. And they fit over my ears, and they don't hurt my ears at all, even for long periods of time. Interested in the new EVH course? Like I said, that might be the next one. We might do a 70s rock course first, and then EVH, or it could be EVH and then 70s rock. So we'll have to see which one comes first. But yeah, please don't chew ice or drink water in range of the microphone. But how are you? Oh, like all the ice is melted. Don't worry, I'm a seasoned pro. No gum, no chewing food by the microphone. Hello from Brazil. Hi, welcome. Sorry that we're getting ready to end. Don't forget to thumbs up. Look at Arthur, my dude. He's got my back. Is it just me, or did the best David Lee Roth songs with Steve Vai kind of sound like Van Halen? Totally. They definitely did. See you next Monday. Yep, see you guys all next Monday. I've seen collabs with guys like Uncle Ben, Eller. Any more videos like that for the 2025? You and Ben are two of my favorites. Yeah, I have a video planned with RJ Ronquillo. I'm still talking with Corey Congilio about doing one. I have a really good idea for a lesson with him. And then there's gonna be a crazy video coming up with some wild people. A couple of those coming up in February. So you guys have to stay tuned for that. I have a video already shot with Jared James Nichols, and another video shot down at Glazier's, and then a Telecaster video done with Zach Childs, and a bunch of stuff. All kinds of stuff, man. Oh, Ryan, we're just leaving. Thanks for making it, though, buddy. What cord do I use? I don't even know. Oh, this is a Hosa cable. Do I have a free section to try out any of your courses? I don't at this time. I've thought about doing that. You know, I just always kind of thought that our prices are pretty fair and low compared to a lot of other courses and stuff. And we don't get many complaints, if I'm honest. Like, I try to pack quite a bit of stuff in there, but maybe that's something we'll look into in the future. You know, I never want to turn down a good idea. So that's something maybe down the line we could think about adding, kind of like maybe a couple pieces from courses and put a little free section together. One thing you can do, if anybody wants to check it out, can you see it in the description? So if you click more on the description, it has the membership sale going on, but it also says try my free 5-day fretboard challenge. Just sign up for that. It's essentially very similar to what you get at the courses. It's 5 different challenge things that you'll get 5 different videos sent to you throughout the course of a week. And, you know, it's pretty much, you know, just lessons like what you get in the course. So that is free. So maybe we do already have that. The next live stream will be next month. Sorry, I coughed on the microphone. Isn't YouTube kind of a free? Kind of, yeah. YouTube is the free version of the course. So we will be live next Monday, same time, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, and all the other time zones I do not know. But thank you all so much. I appreciate you all, everyone. And then, just, you know, a big old appreciation for Eddie Van Halen. You know, he inspired a lot of us to play. And like I said, he would have been 70 years old yesterday. So just be thankful that we got so much great music and playing from him and got to even have an Eddie Van Halen in this world. So other than that, guys, we're going to see if I can pull off this outro with music. And I don't know, fingers crossed. If this works, I'm telling you, you won't know what to do with me next week. You won't know what to do with me because it'll be the greatest thing ever. So anyways, outro happening. Dang it. There we go. Oh, snap. Let's go. Bye, guys.